Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Glasses. I'm just going to log some stuff for my progress in the OWLs Readathon, and then I'm going to get into reading the next book, so we'll swing into the intro, and I'll do that in the meantime. So as you can see, every day my place of reading is changing, but it's becoming more the bed than the front room. Right now my husband is on a school call, so he's studying and his exams are coming up in a few weeks, and they are doing like Zoom calls with each other so they can have their group study sessions without actually being in groups. And what I'm doing is I have updated my journal spread with what's going on for my OWLs Readathon. I finished the Merciful Crow this morning. We're on April 4th, just so you know. This is obviously going to be posted later. I have no idea how long vlogs are going to take me because I haven't decided to edit one yet, but it is what it is. So I just finished my Care of Magical Creatures requirement. So far I have completed Ancient Runes, which was Heartless, Arithmancy, which was Landline, and now Care of Magical Creatures, which was the Merciful Crow. So I'm just going online actually right now to submit to them my completed book for the reading. And then I'm going to get into my charms, which is Room by Emma Donoghue. So give me a second, I'll finish that up, and we will, get to it. Okay, so maybe I'll give you a quick kind of look at my journal before I get to talking about Room. Ooh. Alright, so this is the cover of the journal that I'm currently using for my spreads for the OWLs Readathon, or the Magical Readathon 2020. I actually got this journal from another booktuber. Her name is Ashley Hernandez, and she is at the Ashverse on Instagram. So she sent this to me, and I decided to do my spread in there, so I thought I would show it to you. Got the OWLs exams. Then we've got, these two pages are empty right now, and I'll show you them again later once I update them. But I'm planning on putting like the OWLs requirements and my chosen profession here. Our printer is finally on its way, and like just the things you get excited about are like still the same, but you get excited about them in a different way now with COVID, and it's really weird. Next up, I put the course requirements, so I am going for the Wandmaker, as you guys know. I have to do Ancient Runes, Arithmancy, Care of Magical Creatures, Charms, and Herbology. So far, I am done 60% of my course requirements to become a Wandmaker. For extra credit, we have the Animagus Training. Now, I know that technically I don't need to read another book to do the Animagus Training, but I'm reading all books that are on my unread shelf, and then I'm determining what I'm doing with them. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me to get more of that done. So I am going to do a second Arithmancy book, and then I've got Potions and Transfiguration. Then the last two pages, I just kind of took inspiration from another person on Instagram, and they just kind of like put all the hashtags and stuff. And then I also have a page tracker, so you can see kind of what I'm reading per day. I have read almost a book per day, so on April 1st I read all of Heartless, and then I decided to start on Landline right away. I finished Landline on the 2nd, and before bed I decided to start on the Merciful Crow. Yesterday I read the bulk of the Merciful Crow, even though it was a really hard day, and I really also didn't like the book, but sometimes that's just kind of the way it goes. And then I finished it off this morning, and I'll be starting on Room now. So let's get into that. Room is by Emma Donoghue. The prompt for this was a book with a white or mostly white cover, and I had a few that would fit that criteria, but I chose this one. I actually don't remember what this book's about. I got this from a good friend who I have known almost my whole life, back home. I gave her like all of my Outlander books and she gave me room. It was actually a really good trade for me though because, sorry, I'm gonna back up so you can see me. It was actually a really good trade for me though because I reread Outlander not that long ago and realized that it wasn't actually for me. It wasn't really my jam. And so yeah, it worked out for me. So it says that, okay, so it's basically like, I think, a son and his mother who are like enclosed, like, sorry, held captive in a room, and so I think that's why it's called Room. This is probably going to be a difficult book to get through, so I will start it. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, I probably won't be getting through a book a day like I was for the first 2-3 days. Isn't really something that's super sustaining. And just like, you know, when life happens, you kind of just have to put the reading on hold and focus on what's important, which is what I had to do yesterday. And why I didn't read, I mean, the reason I didn't read The Merciful Corona Day is partially because it wasn't good. And also just because, like, my mental health wasn't really good. I was stuck in kind of a rumination cycle based on something that I had found that I thought I was over, but I wasn't actually. And then I got in my own head because my knee started giving me pain, and I was really worried that, like, my knee would never get better and, like, I'd never get back to normal because I've kind of had a recurring injury. And then I was, like, really disappointed in myself for being bad at guitar. And I found out that, yeah, someone who meant a lot to me and who, you know, actually did change my life passed away on Thursday. So yesterday was just kind of a poop day all around, and I didn't think that I wanted to get into it, but I always think it's important to show kind of the real life side of things, but also, like, I don't know, I think COVID has just made time and life seem so incredibly different than what we're used to that I think it's important to share our experiences and what we're going through and stuff like that. So you guys are definitely not alone. We have good days, we have bad days. Today has been a much better day for me. Although I was super dehydrated yesterday from crying and maybe drinking a little bit too much. And I slept way too late today. But it's comes in cycles. I'm aware of what my faults are and how I handle things. But honestly, I just am trying to take it one day at a time. So without further jibber jabber, I'm going to start reading Room by Emma Donoghue. I forgot, I need to update my Goodreads that I've started this book. I try to be as precise as I can when it comes to the books that I'm reading and putting on Goodreads, because I like to know how long it actually takes me to get done the book. So for example, like Viet by Charlotte Bronte, I think it's Charlotte Bronte, has been on my Goodreads reading for forever because I started it forever ago, but I haven't finished it yet. So I like it to try and be actually reflective of how long I've been reading the book. That's not the same one. Sometimes this makes me feel old. Perfect. And they obviously updated their app, which is good, but I was completely lost there for a second. Apparently I'm not feeling like reading because I'm not actually getting it done. Okay, enough. just a little bit for now, but I need a break already. I started out strong and I had books that held my attention, but this one's told from the point of view of a 5-year-old, and while it's a really interesting point of view, it also can lag a little bit because when children are narrators, they often go on tangents, and this is no exception. But I think that's a good sign for the author, showing that she kind of knows. I think there are some things that are probably a bit too highbrow for maybe a 5-year-old, but I mean, mostly I think the author is doing a good job at keeping it true. So it's really sad because you can tell already in the first, 20 pages or whatever, that they're locked in this room and are being kept there by a man who has obviously raped the mother for Jack to have been born. So yeah, it's sad. But putting it down for now, and I'll be back later. Hey guys, I'm back. Today is April 5th, so it is the 5th day of the OWLs Magical Readathon 2020. Struggling with my watch here. I am back onto Room by Emma Donoghue. I will say that the concept of the book is extremely heartbreaking, and I understand why it has to be told from the point of view of a 5-year-old, but it makes it really hard to get through sometimes because, like, obviously kids are prone to temper tantrums, and I just, like, don't have time for that. It's such a good thing that I don't have kids yet. But yeah, I'm just, like, really struggling to get through this one quickly because obviously the subject matter is pretty heavy. But I am just about to snuggle in for a reading session for now. I'm looking to do maybe about cough up a lung. I'm looking to do about an hour, so I don't know if I'll actually make that hour or not, but I'm going to give it a go nonetheless. This is going to be on video. Are you fucking kidding me? Hey guys, it's me again. I have officially finished Room by Emma Donoghue. Today is... Oops. Today is April 6th, so this book took me 3 days to get through. Earlier in this video, I talked about not really liking the narrator. I did get used to the narrator. I think I didn't like him in the beginning because I think the beginning was, like, too much for me. And it sounds silly, but, like, we live in a time where we are literally not locked in rooms, but I mean, kind of, like, we are locked in and we can't really get out, and so I think maybe I wasn't as fond of it because it just reminded me too much of the situation we're in now. I found that once, spoiler alert, they were able to be in the real world and start the healing process, that it was a lot easier, and I found that his, the narration style was better. Just inside it was too much. I think the author did a very good job at the perspective. It's a very hard perspective to do, and I don't know that it was done perfectly, but I do think that it was a good attempt. Like, I don't know how a 5-year-old would think. I don't know how they would react in such a scenario, and I think that some of the trauma that you see that comes afterwards with, you know, kind of being sensory overloaded and just like adjusting to a whole new perception of reality, and literally something that's so much bigger than you could ever comprehend, was well done. It's not perfect, of course, but it is something. And it was a really hard book because it deals with a very hard subject. And it's like, yeah, it's good. I think it makes some very interesting commentary about, like, kind of human resilience and, I guess, like, resourcefulness. That's literally on the front of the book. I'm totally shooting right now. But, just, like, trauma and growth and rebirth and, kind of the transient nature of our identities. I think it also probably touches a little bit upon kind of, I guess, innocence and like being devoid of outside influences, so to speak, and kind of I guess more modern look at purity and stuff, or maybe purity is not the right word, but I did come around to liking this book more than I thought I was going to when I started. As I said, I think, like, mentally I wasn't in the greatest of spaces while I was reading this anyway, just because there were some other life things that happened that I can't remember if I talked about earlier in this video or not. But just like the hope that comes with the other parts of the story and how life can move on after tremendous trauma and hurt and horrible things, just how we can move on after that. I hope and think is very uplifting and optimistic and indicative of how we will be once this COVID mess is over. So that's all I've got for you today. This was a super depressing read, so I'm hoping that the next thing I read is going to be very light and airy. But this is now my third book that I have finished for the OWLs Magical Readathon for 2020. I have one more book left in order to fulfill my requirements as a Wandmaker, and that will be Herbology. So that's going to be mirrored by, I think the author's name is Alex Flynn, so that will be my next reading vlog. And, oh crap, I have to put a vlog together because I'm supposed to post today on YouTube. So that will be the Heartless vlog coming your way. I know that this is now in the past, so I'm telling you it, but I gotta go work on a vlog. See you guys later. Bye.